Hello.
Hey Jim,
Hi, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you very much. This is very nice. I was trying to recollect when we first met at the Idiot Hour at that
That's right.
that little place in the basement over there, right?
Yeah, the Sunflower
Yeah,
Lounge.
I think it's closed now.
It is, I think.
That was
Yeah,
such a cool place.
it was perfect for that
It
show.
really was. It was
Yeah,
such a fun place. I really enjoyed being there. It was, I mean, not I enjoyed the show as well very much, but it was kind of cool, kind of like almost like a flashback to like an old, almost like beatnik type place. You know what I mean? It's like really old New York. You know,
totally.
very
Yeah.
cool, very cool. Anyway, yeah. So you've been doing this for quite a while now.
My show?
Performing. I mean, performing as a clown, as a
Oh,
comedian, as an actress.
yeah, I have. I have.
I've looked at your resume, and you have some really nice credentials from all these wonderful people you studied with, Ayator and Richard and Chris Bays, and what a lineup, you know? It's
It's
nice.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's true.
very nice, very nice. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, so I look forward to seeing your show. I have a couple of questions, like five basic questions to talk to you
Great.
about, and
Huh.
I'll basically slate the show by saying, "Hi, this is Jim from Vaught Visuals. I'm here with Julia to talk about her new show coming up, Grandma's Eye Patch. I think that's what it's called, right?
My grandmother's eye
My
patch. That's right.
my grandmother's eye patch. I gotta
Yeah,
let me, my memory is shot. I can't remember anything anymore.
no worries.
Um, eye patch. Yes, and so I'll slate it, and
Okay,
then the first question I want to talk to you is about, what attracted to you? What attracted you to become interested in performing as a clown? I mean, was it that first, or was it acting first and then clown? Or but we'll get to that when I ask you the question. But I just want
sure.
to sort of preface it by just telling you where we're going to go with the first question.
Okay.
And yeah, and we'll take it from there. We'll just
Okay, great.
very informal. It's not going to be like crazy, uh, simple questions. I'm sure you're very well versed in answering them because you've probably been interviewed before. So we'll take it from there. So here we
Okay,
go.
sounds good.
Oh, by the way, you're the only one that's visible on this video. I'm not visible, so it's just
Okay.
my voiceover and your visual. So that's I just want to let you know in advance.
Okay,
Oh,
perfect.
okay,
Thank you.
okay, here we go.
Okay.
Hi, this is Jim from What Visuals. Hold on a second. Let me get my act together. Sorry. Take
So
two. Take two.
clown.
Take two.
So clown, yeah.
What's the origin of your name? Is it Dutch or Scandinavian?
It's Dutch.
It's
That's
Dutch. I
right.
thought so. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm a big fan of the Dutch people. I loved Amsterdam. I've been there, Rotterdam. I've been there many, many times. I had a very dear friend who was a Dutch mime, Will Spoor. It was really awesome. He passed away several years ago, but I used to go
Oh,
visit him all the time. And he came to New York and tried to draft me into his company, and I couldn't make it. But anyway, a long story. But anyway,
oh,
big
that's
fan, big fan of
lovely.
the Dutch. The Dutch people are so smart. They're so savvy. They're so cultured. It's a really wonderful, wonderful. It's nice to be part of that. I'm sure you feel that way. It's nice to be part of that heritage, right? I mean,
That's so nice. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I don't. You sounds like you know more about it than I do, but that's lovely. I accept.
Anyway, here we go. Let's start all over again.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, this is Jim from Vaught Visuals. I'm here with Julia Vanderveen, who's been performing as a professional clown and actress for quite some time and doing an amazing job of it, I must admit. Her accolades are stupendous, and her history of who she studied with and what she's been doing is just wonderful. It's wonderful to see on this resume and to read your bio and all that kind of stuff. So let's hear about like where you started when you were a young child. Like what drew you to the clown sensibility? Or did it start there, or were you first an actress?
Oh, I love that you started from childhood. that's lovely. I always loved attention from really small. And I started doing dance class when I was like 2 years old. And I used to go over to my neighbor's house and I would perform for her. I would come out and introduce myself. So I would come out as the MC, as someone else, then I would disappear, and then I would come back as myself and do a roaring rendition of I'm a Little Teapot. And she would clap. She would clap like that. But also my parents were, hippies. And so they had this weird, they were pretty traditional by the time I came along, but they had this weird grouping of friends. Like they had a friend that lived on a boat, and they had a friend called the garden doctor who would pick his toes at the dinner table. I remember that. And he would pull quarters out of my ears. And we went to this church, and there was sort of this minstrel clown there named Dale. And he, I went over to his house and would play in his costumes. And so I think I always, I think I was always kind of felt at home with people that were a little bit more eccentric. So it was both. It was the wanting to show off and have attention, but also the people that were just a little bit left of center or something like that.
Left of center. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. Let me make sure I go in the right direction.
Yeah.
But I think I'm left.
So when you went off to college, you majored in drama to start with, or?
Yeah, I actually studied musical theater. So when I was 8, I made myself decide if I wanted to be an actor, singer, dancer. I think visual artist or doctor was thrown in there. And I thought, I'll be an actor because then I can be anything. But I still had trouble kind of narrowing it down. So I decided to study musical theater because I thought, well, it has singing, dancing, and acting all together. And I have performed as a musical theater professionally, but it started to get more focused into acting. And then when I moved to the city about 11 years ago, actually my husband was doing Lincoln Center Directors Lab, and they focus on a different subject every summer. And that summer it was comedy. And Christopher Bays did a little bit with them. And Hans came home and was like, you have got to study this, Julia. I think this is totally up your alley. And actually started studying with Carter Gill, who was one of Chris's apprentices. And I told people, I've said this before, but it felt like I completely fell in love with clowning, and it felt like a room in my house that I had forgotten existed. It was so familiar, but it was also oh my God, this is the best. I was over the moon. I couldn't get over it. I was completely just heart chakra open, completely in love.
Nice. You found it. You found a place.
I found a place. Thank God. Thank God. Where was I going to go? We didn't know.
No, thank God you found it, right?
God. Yay.
So when did you start thinking about this show, my grandmother's eye patch, and what's the origin of the title?
Yeah. So I still audition as an actor, and I was auditioning as an actor then. And I started to hear, I didn't know people. Actually, that's not true. In 2006, when I studied in London, I saw a solo show from Complicité, that group, and I thought, oh my gosh, that is so amazing. And then I started to see other colleagues of mine create their own solo work, and I just thought that was the ballsiest, craziest thing to do. I don't think that is really given to actors that much, that it's here, you can make your own work, what you really, really want. And that's what's so beautiful about clown, too, is that it's so specific to the performer. So I knew I wanted to create a solo show, but I wasn't really sure what I wanted the show to be. And I was working closely with Aitor Basari of Spy Monkey at the time. And he was like, well, why don't you think about exploring a female relationship in your family? Because when you play, other females in your family will see you. And then the jump to my grandma was really short for me because she was also an artist, and I always felt really connected to her. but my grandfather was a Methodist bishop. So she had been a bishop's wife her whole life. So she didn't really get to do her art the way I think she might have wanted to. And when she died, she had all these unpublished poems. And I thought, oh, it'd be so cool to try to get some of these poems published. And I never did that, but there is a poem in the show that I say at the end that I absolutely love. And so in a way, I did publish it, I think. It's like I shared it with people. And that's really special. And we chant her name in the show. I don't want to give too much away, but we try to summon her from the dead. And it's so funny because there's things in the show that have been a surprise to me, but I didn't anticipate how cool and powerful it would feel to chant her name in an audience of people. Like it's really cool and powerful and moving to me.
Nice. And when you started working with Christopher, did the show develop when you were working with Christopher? I mean, with iTour, did it start there?
Yeah. We started working on it in 2019, actually, and we started in a workshop working on it and getting kind of the concept that it's going to be a memorial service for my grandmother. Because the type of clown I am is I can be very like serious and like deep feelings and bossy. So it's a little bit different than some of the clown shows you see because it starts and I'm in mourning. It's like this very grand emotional gesture, which is really fun for me. So we had the concept of the show, and then I ended up rehearsing with him for about 2 weeks to kind of like flesh it out. And I put a version of it up in 2019, which was pretty terrible. We were just like throwing everything up to see what sticks. And then the pandemic happened, of course. And so I kind of remounted it in 2022, and iTour was busy. So a friend of mine, Isaac Kessler, came on board to direct it. And he teased it out and did some great dramaturgical work and really made the show much better. And he's been kind of with me on this second version of the journey.
Nice. And he's got quite a reputation as well. I read his bio.
Yeah.
He's got some nice, performing chops as well,
He's an incredibly funny performer.
That's great. That's so nice. Well, I mean, looking at the reviews from the show, I mean, you did it quite a few times already, and one review said like it helps you appreciate our humanity, which is very nice to hear that kind of quote about a clown show, which I think is great, right? And then also it says leads the audience through wild stages of grief as she attempts to honor her long dead grandma. It's like it's really. You are walking a kind of a high wire between the drama and the grief of the that. So it's a very trying and kind of, I don't know what the word is, like really taking chances with it, right? I mean.
Yeah, there are huge turns in the show of being really serious and then really dumb. I mean, I do really stupid physical things with my body. But again, if I don't have the commitment to the morning of the show, those things don't work.
Right.
So like the beginning of the show is so important. I think of it like almost like dominoes lined up. It's like if you don't have, exactly, you just tip into it. If it's not lined up right from the beginning, it's not going to fall the way it's supposed to.
That's a nice metaphor.
Thank you. But you're right. I mean, it's taken a while of playing the show to like really be able to get those turns. Like the first, 10, 15 times of doing it, it would be like, okay, now we're going to go this way. I'd like to see if they're with me,
It's all R&D, right? I mean, like working on the show is R&D. It's research and development. It's getting it tightened up, and realizing when you're performing it what things need to be tightened up, and But it sounds like it's in a really good place right now, which is really great,
Yeah, I did it in Edinburgh, so I got to do 22 shows of it or something every day, which is amazing. I mean, there's so many things you hope will happen at Edinburgh, and things that did come out of it. I was in the New York Times. I got some 5-star reviews, but it's also just like the reps of doing the show every day in all kinds of circumstances. It's an incredible gift for a
Yeah,
performer,
that's
you know?
amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a great training platform. You know, I mean, but you know, you had the show in a good place already, so it was
Yeah.
just like really tight tweaking it, right? I mean, just having fun with it in a way, right? I mean,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
nice, nice. And so you're doing it at the Brooklyn Art House.
I'm doing it at Brooklyn Art
It's
House.
a
Yep.
wonderful
On
venue,
November
absolutely
8th.
wonderful venue. I love that place.
It's beautiful. I was actually just there last night. I also co-host a variety show called Cocktober, which is like very, body, as you would imagine, very body, and we take a lot of risks. But they're also so nice at Brooklyn Art House. They're so accommodating. It's really a lovely,
Yeah.
lovely venue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I photographed quite a few shows there. It's quite wonderful there. I love Alex and his
Isaac.
partner
Yeah.
Isaac. Yeah, yeah, they're great. They're great people. So
Yeah.
let's go to the next question. The show follows a memorial service gone wrong. What inspired you to explore that? Well, we already talked about it, explored that concept. So it says you've received several awards for My Grandmother's Eye Patch, including Best Solo Clown. How does these accolades impact you and your work on the show? Once you receive the accolades, I mean, did it give you any change of mind about the show in terms of how wonderful it is?
Yeah, I think, so much about this business is like right place at the right time. So much of it. And I think I got a fair amount of love in awards and different things for my show at an early time, which was great encouragement for me at the time, as it's my first solo show. So I think you get those things and you're like, yeah, I think it's like, oh wow, okay, like maybe I do know what I'm doing, or maybe I do have something. And then I think as time goes on a little bit, you're like, yeah, the awards are great and it helps me market my show, to get to the next thing. But it really, the thing is playing the show. So like whether you have the award or not, I mean, I think that's helps get butts in seats and helps get, reviewers there, whatever. But the real joy is playing the show. If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. As a performer, that's the gold. Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
The other stuff is business. It's the show business part of it. It's the business part of it. It's not really something that we really want to pay attention to, but we have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's see. What else do I have to say? Unique and hilarious comedic experience. That's a great quote.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing the show on November
November 8th at 8:30.
8:30 at the Brooklyn Art House. Thank you,
Correct.
Julia, for the interview. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, and hold on one second. I'm going to stop the recording, but I want to continue talking to you, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.